Picture this. Two of history's most powerful empires, separated by an ocean and over 1,000 years, somehow meeting at the height of their power. The Romans, masters of engineering, military discipline, and Mediterranean conquest. The Aztecs, architects of floating gardens, astronomical geniuses, and rulers of Mesoamerica. What would happen if these civilizations collided? Today, we're diving into one of history's most fascinating what-ifs. We'll explore how these empires compared, what would happen if they met in battle, and how their encounter might have changed the course of human civilization forever. Let's begin. The Clash of Titans. Let's set the stage. The Roman Empire, at its peak in 117 AD, controlled over 5 million square kilometers, stretching from Britain to Mesopotamia. The Aztec Empire in 1519, just before Spanish contact, dominated central Mexico with a population of around 5 million people. First, military might. The Roman legions were legendary. Disciplined, organized into cohorts and centuries, armed with gladius swords, pilum javelins, and protected by their iconic rectangular shields. They built roads wherever they conquered, moved with brutal efficiency, and their tactics evolved from centuries of warfare across diverse terrains. Roman soldiers were professional, trained for years, and fought in organized formations like the testudo or tortoise formation. The Aztec warriors? Equally fierce, but fundamentally different. They fought with obsidian-bladed weapons like the macuahuitl, a wooden sword edged with volcanic glass sharp enough to decapitate a horse. Aztec warfare emphasized individual valor and capturing enemies alive for ritual sacrifice. Their elite warriors, the jaguar and eagle knights, were terrifying on the battlefield, wearing elaborate costumes that doubled as psychological warfare. But here's where it gets interesting. If these armies met, the Romans would have significant advantages in metallurgy, having iron and steel weapons versus obsidian and wood. Their armor was superior, their siege equipment unmatched. However, the Aztecs possessed superior knowledge of their terrain, used highly effective atlatl spear throwers that could pierce Spanish armor, and there could be overwhelming. The real game changer? Logistics and strategy. Romans built infrastructure as they conquered, establishing supply lines and fortifications. The Aztecs ruled through a tribute system of semi-autonomous city-states, which could be a weakness if Rome employed its classic divide-and-conquer strategy. But the Aztecs had something Romans struggled with: experience fighting in dense jungle and mountainous terrain. In a direct battlefield confrontation on neutral ground, Roman discipline and equipment would likely prevail. But in the Valley of Mexico, with the Aztecs defending their home territory, using guerrilla tactics and their knowledge of the land, that's a different story entirely. Cultural exchange and world-changing consequences. Now, let's imagine these empires didn't just fight, but actually made contact and exchanged knowledge. This is where things get truly mind-bending. Technology transfer would be revolutionary. Romans would be astounded by Aztec achievements. Chinampas, the floating gardens that produce multiple crops per year, advanced astronomical knowledge that created calendars more accurate than Roman ones, and chocolate, vanilla, and tomatoes, which would transform Roman cuisine and economy. Imagine Roman soldiers powered by chocolate energy drinks instead of just wine and grain. The Aztecs would gain access to the wheel for transportation. They only used it for toys, iron metallurgy, and Roman architectural techniques like the arch and aqueduct. Though the Aztecs were already incredible engineers who built Tenochtitlan, a city larger than most European capitals, with sophisticated aqueduct systems of their own. But the exchange wouldn't be purely beneficial. Roman diseases would devastate the Americas just as they did in our timeline. Meanwhile, if contact happened earlier, the Americas might have had time to develop immunities or medical countermeasures. Religiously, this encounter would be explosive. Romans were relatively tolerant of foreign gods, often incorporating them into their pantheon. But Aztec human sacrifice on an industrial scale, that would be a bridge too far. The Aztecs performed thousands of sacrifices annually, something that would horrify Romans despite their own gladiatorial games. This cultural gap might prove insurmountable. The biggest consequence? The entire trajectory of Western civilization changes. If Rome had access to American crops like maize, potatoes, and beans centuries earlier, the population of Europe could have boomed. possibly preventing the Dark Ages. The Aztecs, with iron weapons and Roman military tactics, Maya created an empire that could resist European colonization entirely. Trade routes across the Atlantic would open a millennium earlier. The Renaissance happens in Rome, not Italy. Islamic Golden Age scholars would have access to both European and American knowledge. The world map would be completely redrawn. So, what if the Aztec Empire met the Roman Empire? The answer is complicated. In direct military conflict, Roman advantages in technology and organization would likely win battles, but Aztec home field advantage and numbers could win the war. But beyond warfare, the exchange of knowledge between these civilizations could have accelerated human progress by centuries. The real lesson? History's greatest empires succeeded not just through conquest, but through their ability to learn, adapt, and absorb the best of what they encountered. If you enjoyed this journey through alternate history, hit that like button and subscribe for more historical what-ifs. What alternate history scenario should we explore next? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.